Greg, what are you watching?
This is one of the greatest catches. It's one of the most iconic catches in NFL history. It's this guy named Tyree caught this ball against his helmet in the Super Bowl against New England when he was playing for the Giants. I'm going to see it come up right here. Caught against the helmet, brought it all the way down. One of the most iconic catches in football history.
My name is Tyree. I've been dealing with pain specifically in relation to this treatment for at least a few months, at least 3 months. Yeah, I had a midline, I would call it a back strain when I was working out. And first time I've ever had something even of that nature. And I don't know if it was weight related, if I genuinely strained it, but it was something that I could truly identify as pain as a person having high pain tolerance.
For those of you who've been following Barefoot Rehab a while, you know that I've struggled with depression and suicidal ideation when I was younger, adolescent, and in high school. Football is my thing. Played football, worked out in the gym, and I used to watch football voraciously with my father. I lived with my dad growing up, and the Giants were our thing. So in 2008, the Giants were playing the Patriots. The Patriots are with Tom Brady, the big dog, and Tyree, when I was in chiropractic school, comes out of nowhere and makes this crazy fucking catch over his head, ball stuck to his helmet. Best catch ever in football history. It was so amazing. My dad and I lost our shit. Such a great memory for me. It really helps me connect with my dad.
I'm very familiar with getting treated for all kinds of knicks-knacks as a former athlete. So some things, you kind of expect to heal in time, and you don't really know how much you may need the treatment. So I was grateful, but also, grateful for the opportunity to work with Dr. Chris.
And it was pretty cool when Tyree came into the office and had some low back pain. He was struggling for about 3 months, but he's an athlete. He's now into high intensity interval training, and he wants to stay fit and healthy for the rest of his life. So we did an exam, and we found a bunch of ranges of motion and restrictions that would cause more problems in the future if he didn't get his adhesion released. So his cat-cow was flat for 5 1/4 inches. That's a 58% function. His hip flexion on the left was 4 fingers, that's 70%, 1 finger on the right, 92%. His lunge stretch was 10 3/4 on the right, that's 89%, 11 inches, 92%. So as a high performing athlete who wants to continue to do their best, these numbers need to be 100%.
No, I certainly think, the long-term effects of just being a high performing athlete, the wear and tear on the body through the years, I'm always expected that there's going to be signals, opportunities where pain could arise, and obviously still currently being involved in training and high intensity workouts. I'm conscious, I'm aware. I try to be smart and intentional about removing opportunities, but it's something that I've been fortunate to not have lots of true injuries, but this was something that came up. I don't enjoy moving around with pain. I think that's the number one thing. Any kind of pain, right? So it doesn't matter the severity of the pain. You're consciously, even if it's not something that appears to be like truly threatening, and I'm cognizant of what my threshold of activity is if I have constant pain. So it's always going to be something I want to address and be proactive.
So this is a picture of a woman with very good low back range of motion in the cat-cow position when she's on all fours. This is all healthy and rounded. This part is flat for 1.5 inches. This is the 10% restriction. This is her healthy low back. So David came into the office and he had a little bit of rounding at the top of the ruler, but he was flat from 5 1/4 inches down to 0. So this is a huge restriction, which is why he had symptoms when it came down to his low back and why he was having low back problems and pain. After one treatment, we gained 1.25 inches, a 10% increase in function in one treatment. So he was 5 1/4 inches flat. You can see the rounding in the space under the ruler till about the 4-inch marks. After 2 more treatments, we got him down to about 2.5 inches flat and rounded from there. I also explained to David that this disc issue he had, the degeneration, the adhesion, was not just a 3-month thing, even though that's as long as he had his symptoms. Whenever somebody has muscle mass this big on one side compared to the other, it tells me that he's been compensating for years. This is a diagram of his low back. We do this at every single exam. We're looking for squiggles, for where the muscle feels like a well done steak. 1 is mild, 2 is moderate, 3 is severe. So we can see a bunch of 2+ and 2s all along these squiggles in here. Every little square inch of adhesion is an opportunity to get him permanent relief now and longevity in the future.
Me having the background of an athlete and always desiring to be at an optimal space has probably served me better, but also have high pain tolerance. So I'm also not always the best assessor of how to identify pain. That was probably one of the biggest things I've gained from this experience, and recognizing tension, maybe some of the tension and how that can relate or maybe move toward pain and what opportunities there are to improve that. The onboarding was pretty intense in relation to the paperwork, the interview. It was very detailed. So having, being a high performing athlete and then also working even within the NFL culture, you get a lot of opportunity to see different practitioners, and even more so today, working with current athletes. But as an older guy, we didn't have all those resources. So, it sounded like something that was very much cutting edge, useful, helpful, and so it was more curiosity than skepticism. So I was pretty excited to see what this process was all about.
88 degrees.
Okay, good. That was 82 degrees at the exam, so treating the low back made that 6 degrees better.
Yeah, working with Dr. Chris has been a delight. I think the biggest thing is just discovering what the muscle adhesion approach to pain therapy really is.
So your low back range of motion, we got you to 2 3/4 inches last time. That's about 80% function. So it's doing really well. Now I want to start to work on some of the other little pieces that are problematic, so that we can just continue to take stress off of it and make the rest of your movements in the gym go better.
So there's a lot of discovery as well as appreciation. There's a lot of understanding in the process. There's giving people the opportunity to fairly assess not just where they are, but are you actually improving, and having some measurables within it, to actually to be able to assess, okay, there was an improvement in mobility, there was an improvement in tension and relief. So the whole entire process from treatment to treatment has been really positive.
We are removing adhesion from the sciatic nerve, which is about right here. It's as thick as my index finger. He can touch his toes, but he had 6 out of 10 tightness in his hamstrings. So I felt a bunch of adhesion in here, and then I'm gonna check his hamstring, and we should be able to get that to be more flexible. He works out high intensity interval training, so he needs all of his butt muscles, his hamstring muscles, his quad to be working at 100%.
We got to 97 degrees.
Huge. 9 degrees better and 2 points less in tension.
When you came in, scale of 1 to 10, how bad was your pain?
It was probably like a 5. Yeah, 5. In that 5-6 area. A lot of tightness around the back, and there was signaling in certain areas. This is the first time I really had like a true back strain. So it was kind of like, it was definitely a weird experience. Like, oh man, I think I did something back there. So it was in a 5-6 range. Something I was hopeful to go away, but actually really needed some of this treatment to improve it.
Now you've been coming for about a month?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you at now, scale of 1 to 10?
Definitely like in the 2-3 range. Yeah, 2-3 range. A lot of travel in between that probably wasn't as helpful to seeing progress in the treatment. A lot of East Coast to West Coast flights. So I took that into consideration even in I think the treatments may have been more effective than my lifestyle was producing. But every treatment has been a good positive experience.
So after 5 or 6 treatments, he's 80% better. We haven't gotten to his hip impingements yet or his knee meniscus issues yet, but we're gonna clear all this stuff out so that he can CrossFit, high intensity interval train as much as he wants to, stays healthy, gets rid of the pain now, and removes the pain 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in the future. So happy to be treating this dude. He's not only an amazing athlete, but he's also a really sweet man. So super happy that he came in, found us, and that we're able to help him get rid of his pain.
Oh yeah, I'm killing it. I'm a beast. I'm a beast out here in the streets. So yeah, no, I think, you know, now I'm even more confident. I still enjoy high intensity workouts. I'll go to a CrossFit a few times a week. And so, you know, but I also don't want to put myself at risk for injury unnecessarily. And if the body's, you know, not, you know, in its optimal places of cohesion, you know, I think there's so many things that we're just unaware of, and this is a treatment that I think can improve those. Honestly, I mean, I certainly know that, you know, the target may be for the person who is looking for solutions, especially in relation to pain, but I think this is a treatment that can really, and depending on, you know, what your needs are, it certainly can benefit every single one. Me being, I wouldn't identify myself as some person who has who walks around in constant pain, but I think with my experience in athletics and the demand that I've put my body in through the years, there's certainly things that I've learned to live with, and now I'm aware that they can be improved. Man, it's love in the barefoot culture. You know, like, I think that's the number one thing, is that creating an environment of understanding with their clients. Love, you know, come in here and get a hug, come in here and get really tremendous vibes, but with hope of a no-nonsense approach to finding solutions for their clients in relation to their pain and improving their health and well-being.